Yeah. Yeah, we're good to go. It's the 23rd of December 2021. This is the first meeting of council for the period December 21 to September 24 as a result of the extension from of the postponement of the election by 15 months. This term has been shortened by the 15-month period. The meeting is being recorded. So in the spirit of open, accessible and transparent government, and to ensure this meeting is open to the public, this council meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the Murrumbidgee Council Facebook page. A recording will also be placed on council's website. So first order of business is going to be the taking of the oath of or affirmation of office. So I have a Bible here for those that wish to take the oath. We'll just say the affirmation, and if I can get you to stand up, Councillor Black, and you're taking the oath. There's your Bible, and read it out aloud for record, please.
I, Robert Hastings Black, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the Murrumbidgee Council local government area and the Murrumbidgee Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Black, and welcome. Councillor Bryce.
I, Faith Louise Bryce, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the Murrumbidgee Council local government area and the Murrumbidgee Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions invested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you. I'll get you to sign that, please. Councillor Bryce. Councillor Churgman. Oath. Yep.
I, Christine Ann Churgman, swear I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the Murrumbidgee Council local government area and the Murrumbidgee Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions invested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you. Welcome, Councillor Churgman. Okay. Councillor Curfew.
I, Robert John Curfew, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of the Murrumbidgee Council local government area and the Murrumbidgee Council, that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor Curfew. Welcome. Councillor Gilbert.
I, Gavin Michael Gilbert, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of the Murrumbidgee Council local government area and the Murrumbidgee Council, and I will faithfully, impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Gilbert. Councillor McRae. Yeah.
I, Ruth Elizabeth McRae, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of the Murrumbidgee Council local government area and the Murrumbidgee Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act of 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Welcome.
Thank you.
Major.
I, Troy Albert Major, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people, Murrumbidgee Council local government area and the Murrumbidgee Council, and that I was faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Councillor Hayden, welcome.
I, Judith Allen Saxby, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of the Murrumbidgee Council, local government area, and the Murrumbidgee Council. And I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities, and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Welcome. Sean?
I, Timothy Collins Strauns, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of council in the best interest of the people of the Murrumbidgee Council, the local government area, and the Murrumbidgee Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions of powers, authorities, and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Go for the right. So thank you. We've taken the oath of office. Everybody is present and accounted for. There is no apologies. Has anybody got any pecuniary interests they wish to declare that is arising from today's meeting? If not, we will move on to the election of Mayor and Deputy Mayor. I have nominations for election of Mayor and Deputy Mayor in front of me that have already been done. A last call for anybody that wishes to nominate for the position of Mayor. No, I have a duly nominated position for Councillor McRae for the office of Mayor. As such, declare unopposed. Welcome, Councillor McRae. Mayor McRae. For the office of Deputy Mayor, I have one nomination for Deputy Mayor. Does anybody else wish to throw their hat in the ring for Deputy Mayor? No, I have one duly nominated for Councillor Robert Black for the position of Deputy Mayor. I declare Councillor Black Deputy Mayor elected unopposed. Councillor McRae, would you like to come and take over the meeting now? I can sit back and do what I usually do.
I'd like to welcome all new councillors to our assembly. Welcome, Judy and Tim.
Thank you.
We are.
No, I don't have to let people check.
No. Let's jump straight into item number 3.
I too, like Councillor Black, would like to welcome new councillors to the table. I would also like to acknowledge our returning councillors. It's, as they well know, it's a huge commitment, and I'm sure that our 3 communities are going to be really well represented as they have been in the past. So congratulations to all of you, and let's hope that this effort keeps us moving in the right direction. Okay, we might move to item 1, please.
Number 3.
Oh, number 3.
We've done those 2.
Oh, okay. We'll move to the delegations from council to the general manager and the mayor.
Right. So item number 3 is the delegation from the council to the general manager and the mayor. Underneath section 337 of the Local Government Act gives the ability for council to delegate to the mayor and deputy mayor things that can be delegated. So throughout the report you will see that there are some items that cannot be delegated to the mayor or the deputy mayor, and usually if you look through the Local Government Act and it says by council resolution or any of those sort of things, they can't be delegated to the mayor or the general manager. They can only be dealt with by council as in whole or through the committee process. So it's just straightforward. Underneath that, you'll see in the annexure what they have part one. It sort of gives you an idea of all of the different acts and pieces of regulations and all those wonderful sorts of things that we have to do or have the ability to do on a daily basis, and they're delegated to the general manager. And then I have the ability to sub-delegate. So once this is done, you'll see a register that'll have a part one delegation, which is part one from council to me, and then you'll see the register that's got part two delegations, and that's delegation from myself to other staff in the organisation so that we can the local government. So the recommendation is on page 11. Council, in accordance with section 377 of the Act 93, by resolution of this meeting on the 23rd of December 2021, delegate its powers, authorities and functions as set out in part 1 of the Act, delegations registered to the General Manager and the Mayor. Are there any questions?
No. If there's no further questions, would somebody like to move the recommendation, please? Move Councillor Gilbert, seconded Councillor Curfew. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 4, please.
So item number 4, we have various committees, whether they be standing committees, whether they be 355 committees, or whether we've got external organisations which council represent. Sitting in front on item number 4 is actually what is in existence as at the last election, just so that everybody can see. So there'll be some need to run through each and every one of them to see who wishes to put their hands up for the standing committees or the 355 committees to represent council. So we just go one by one. If we just start at the top, so Julie doesn't clip me under the ear.
Can I just make
Like,
when you are considering your ability to be a delegate on one of these committees, there's a few things you need to take into consideration. One is, if you're a nominated delegate of council, you need to be able to get to the meetings, because it is futile and actually works against council if you can't actually be at the table to undertake that delegation. Fortunately or unfortunately, most of these meetings occur during the working day. So there's all of these delegations are important, but some of them are vitally important. And if we don't have that council delegate at the table, we are losing our voice to actually have some ability to have some influence in that sphere. So there is no judgment if people cannot put their hands up to have be those delegates. But please consider carefully your ability to get to the meetings, because it is vitally important that we have those people at the table. Okay.
So the first one is the Internal Audit Risk and Improvement Committee. That was Gayla Smith was the representative when she was councillor for council. So Audit Risk and Improvement Committee, the world is changing. They've got new regulations that are coming forth, which will actually state that there is no councillor on those committees into the future. But currently, as it sits now, we have one councillor and two independents, but the rules actually say 3 independents. And under the rules of the ARIC committee at the moment, the term comes up in March, so we're advertising for the independents. Until that time, Gayla Smith will be one of the independents on there for the one remaining meeting, which is February. But a councillor who is deeply keen on all things audit, risk and improvement would like to nominate themselves.
Can I ask one question? Where are the meetings held?
They are various. They're Darlington Point. They can be Colliambley, or they can be here at Jerilderie. Doesn't matter.
As the Mayor, I can attend those meetings.
You can attend any meeting.
I can attend any meeting. However, I think it's very healthy if we have a delegate from the council.
And under the rules, the mayor is actually excluded from being on the ARIC. Is that correct, Vicky? Yes.
Excluded from being on the committee,
From being, you
but
can
not
be present.
excluded from the room.
No.
But it's really important that we have somebody at the table.
I'd like to find the person that could. No, sorry.
We're being live streamed, just remember that. Is there anybody who has an interest in this area?
As I say, the world of ARIC is changing. In the future, there is no councillors on there. Councillor Black. There we go. Councillor Black. The General Manager Review Committee currently sits at the Mayor and Deputy Mayor. Would you like us to leave it at that? Yep. The Traffic Committee, currently chaired by Councillor Black. The alternate was Councillor Smith. So, Councillor Black, you're happy to keep on. Does anybody want to be an alternate?
Alternate. Roy?
Murphy?
Murphy, good.
As you see, so the voting delegate is Tom Dimmick, and then each of the local members have a representative on that committee, as well as Police and Transport for New South Wales are on that. So the voting delegates on there is Tom, Ian, Sean, the Police and Transport for New South Wales. LEMC, currently Councillor Black, with alternative being Councillor McRae. We keep it at that? Yes?
Yeah.
Polyambley Town Life, currently Councillor Churgman and Councillor Brown. Councillor Churgman, do you wish to remain?
We've got to do down the bottom of the Australia Day ones first.
Sorry? Oh, is there one's down the bottom? Oh, I jumped ahead, sorry. Polyambley Australia Day Committee is Councillor Churgman.
Yeah, that's fine.
You're on? Fine. Jewellery Australia Day Committees, Councillor McRae and Councillor Bryce. Yeah. Everybody still happy? Jump in if you want to join, because we can change on it. Polyambley Town Life, Councillor Churgman, Councillor Brown.
Tim? Yeah, I'll go on that one.
Right, Councillor Strong. Councillor Churgman, do you
Yeah, no, that's fine.
stay? Yep. Darlington Point Town Life Australia Day Committee was Councillor Wells. Councillor Saxwick. Anybody else? Heritage Darlington Point was Councillor McRae, but would there be a councillor from...
Now that's by default. That was because we couldn't get anybody else. I'm really happy if somebody from Darlington Point puts their hand
So
up.
what does that involve?
Mona
Is
Finlay.
that to do with the museum?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Fine.
Thank you. Thanks.
Sunday morning meeting, 10 o'clock.
Murrumbidgee Management Committee. Thank you, Julie. We had Mel Meninga in Queensland, the footballer, and I just, Mel Meninga. There we go. Councillor Bryce and Councillor Smith. So, Councillor Bryce, are you still happy?
Do you want an alternate? No, one's enough. Okay.
All right. Corey Sports Complex Management Committee.
Oh, yeah, I better do that one.
The major. Gamma Rec Reserve Management Committee, currently Councillor Churgman.
Yeah, they don't do anything, so it's fine. I'd happy still to be the representative.
Not happy. Jewellery Tidy Towns, Councillor Bryce, Councillor McRae. Yep. Advisory committees, we've got Monash Park Users, Councillor Smith, Councillor McRae.
Yeah, can you do that one?
Yep. Councillor McRae, you still happy?
Yes. Yeah.
Polyambley Sports Precinct Advisory Committee, Councillor Black. And both councillors as alternates.
Yep.
Both happy for that? Yep. The Boat Ramp Advisory Committee, my question, do we still need it? Or was that one?
I'll take Bill's place.
Hey?
I'll take Bill's.
Right.
Yeah, it's still not finished. There's still stuff to be done there.
There's still stuff to be done, so we still want to keep that committee?
Yeah.
Rightio, so we'll just keep the three councillors?
Yeah.
Yep. The Darlington Point Master Land Use Plan Advisory Committee, just leave it as the councillors. METAG, I've got METAG on there. I want to propose a change to that, but not today. So we'll just leave it as the mayor's representative at the moment, and we'll bring back changes later on to that group. The Darlington Point Caravan Park Committee. Yep, still Councillor Gilbert, Councillor McRae.
Yeah.
Yes, Councillor
Baxwick.
Baxwick. Yep.
In your interest.
And the floodplain risk, is the councillors from still happy for that? Yep. External committees. Councillor McRae was appointed for a 3-year term for CICL, Colliam Environment, so not there. Kidman Promotions Committee, Councillor McRae. You're happy to be an alternate delegate, Councillor Churchman, still?
Yes.
Yes? Yep. Newell Highway Promotion is as Councillor McRae. Alternate was Councillor Smith. Does anybody else want to put their hand up for the Newell Highway?
I was just going to say that Newell Highway Promotional Committee is closely linked with the Newell Highway Task Force Committee.
I would have thought so.
And I think the mayor and the deputy mayor, who sometimes attends the Newell Highway Committee,
Thanks.
often attends. I think that
Except for COVID.
that alternate should be Councillor Black.
You happy for that, Councillor Black?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. The Mid-Murray Zone Bushfire Management Committee was Councillor Smith.
The major. Got an interest there, haven't you?
Yeah, certainly. Yep.
And I'm happy to be the alternate, Troy, because I normally go to those meetings anyway as the mayor. So if you can't get to it, I can get to it.
Sounds good.
Right. Berrigan Jewellery Community Network. That was one that was put on mid-term.
Yeah.
Do we still wish to keep that as a committee or have it drop off?
Well,
So I did look at that. What's that all about?
It's a meeting that's convened quarterly, and it's all of the social community stakeholder groups. It's valuable, but I believe we need a delegate at the table because I think that part of our business we are going to have to seriously look at giving better representation and better outcomes for our community in that regard. Yeah, it's groups like Care, Homes Out West, Interreach, all of those social welfare things. Yeah, there's not a great expectation that you will do something. It's about what they can do for us.
You're talking yourself into it, are you, Councillor McRae?
Well, I'm just trying to explain to Troy exactly what it is.
That's good. I think it is good to explain a few of these committees, but it's probably not. Yeah, happy for you to do it, Rick.
I'm happy to do it. Yeah, I was just trying to get to Troy to exactly what it was.
MIA Zone Bushfire Management Committee, Councillor Churchman.
Yeah, I'll make sure I get the list from Talia this time of exactly when their meetings are so I can forward a plan.
What I would like to do regarding this delegation is I would like the General Manager to write to the MIA Zone and insist that the council delegate is informed of every meeting with sufficient prior notice so that we can have representation at the table. Because
a couple of days before is not.
No, it's not, and it's been remiss. And I think we, as I pointed out early on, I think we do need that voice at the table. Would you like an alternate in case you can't get
There's
there?
one there already.
Councillor Black, but I'll make sure.
That's the bushfire.
I would. They must know when their meetings are, so if they can give it to me in advance, I can put in for that time off.
And so correspondence to go to our delegate and our alternate delegate,
yes, please,
so that both people are on the same page.
The next one was the MIA Zone Rural Fire Service Liaison Committee, to Councillor Churchman.
I don't know that I've even ever seen anything on that at all. I'm not even sure what that committee is.
Well, okay. It's a really important committee. But knowing that how the one functions out of the Mid-Murray Zone, it's really important that you're at the table. So again, we need to make it very clear that it is our desire to have
Yeah.
a far greater level of engagement.
Yes.
Okay?
Mhm.
Can you do that, Mr General Manager? Okay.
In Murray-Darling Association, the mayor and alternate deputy mayor. So,
Yeah, I'm happy to be that delegate. Councillor Black, are you happy to be that alternate? Yeah.
Western Riverina Libraries Committee was Councillor Smith as a voting delegate. Libraries.
We need somebody from the floor.
It's actually a really important position. We
It is.
we actually do have a library here.
But there's quite a lot of money involved in this.
There is. And you need somebody at the table.
What is the meeting schedule?
Sue?
Well, that's fine.
March. You do that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Councillor Bryce?
Mm-hmm. And the Southwest Zone Library Committee.
No.
How
Yes,
often
it is. No, it meets down this end, doesn't it?
West Riverina I would have thought would have been a northern representative.
No, well, it's collected. We are serviced out of the Western Riverina.
Okay.
But this links us with our southern libraries. Is that right, Vicky?
It's a regional area.
Yeah, a regional one. Yeah. How often do they meet?
They only have one a year. Well, we only have one a year, but you could forego that if you so desire, because the WRL are actually represented on that committee.
I think where it's given us interest and it's about collaborative advocacy is for advocacy trying to get more funding and whatever for libraries across New South Wales. So I think if it's only once a year, it's valuable to be in the room.
That's fine.
You're happy to do that? Yeah.
Western Riverina Arts.
Anybody else would like to have a go?
I think it needs to be shared around.
I've done it since I've been on council, actually.
Dave, what about you?
It is a board.
Tim?
It does have that board responsibility, so.
Yeah, it's not just a rock in.
I can't.
We need to share these jobs.
I probably could. I mean, I'm retiring at the end of next year, so I'll have more time that I don't have to consult with anybody about what I do.
I think a really good example is of how valuable it is with lots of these Wiradjuri Walk, the Wiradjuri Walk in Darlington Point and the mural and things that were done here, they were really valuable in this space to helping us get a really good end product. So it is valuable.
I'll do it for another year, and Chris.
And I'll take it off after that.
Nice.
That's a deal.
That's no,
I've done it before. So.
I want to do it, but it's just whenever I'm doing what I'm doing, it's a difficult thing.
And this last one, Thrive Riverina, it's no longer called Thrive Riverina, but it is the tourism voice that represents our area here. So it too is very valuable. Sam is actually very active. Sam Starr is very active in that space, but it is really important to have a councillor on that. So I'm happy to do it, but if somebody else would like to do it, to have a go, I'm happy to step back.
Well, again, if you take it for another year, I'll take it on after that.
Get the right name for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roads and Maritime Services Consultative Committee, Mayor and Deputy Mayor, we'll leave it at that. Ramjo, Mayor and Deputy Mayor, leave it at that as well. I think in the Ramjo charter it says it's the Mayor of the Council. Yeah. It's the alternative anyway. Riverina Valley Spot on Spray Group.
No, I'll be the alternate if I can have somebody in the room who's hopefully could attend.
Are they night meetings or day meetings?
A meeting.
A meeting.
Mm.
It needs to be somebody with a farming background.
All lies leading to.
Yeah, well, I guess in other ways,
We can work together, Troy, is what I'm saying.
yeah.
Okay? If it's up in Griffith,
He's leading you in.
Don't drink. Don't drink.
these jobs.
Yeah,
Most of the meetings are held in the north.
yeah. So I guess I could do it 2 hats anyhow. Just- yeah.
Or do you see a bit of a conflict there, or do you?
No conflict. It's not that sort of. Look, I've been to a couple of meetings or seen the minutes, but I've not actually I haven't been to the meetings. I've seen the minutes of the meetings, so there's nothing really conflicting.
No, there's no conflicting there.
Okay. All right.
It is a very important job because we have to get
Yeah,
farmers or individuals in the community who have a haphazard way of using chemicals, and that is anybody from a resident in the town to council staff to
aerial
operators. Yeah.
Right.
Councillor Brown.
I thought of you, Judy. Don't worry. I was pointing that way.
You don't want me on.
Yes, actually, it wouldn't hurt. It would not. It would not hurt.
That. Harold is in that.
Okay, well, we'll leave it at Troy and Rob. Councillor Brown's probably got some good handover material. He's been attending those meetings, so
I've been getting the
the minutes.
minutes.
Okay, all right.
But the whole thing is they need to ramp their action up.
Yep.
An article came out this week, I think, early this week, from them. If I could find, I'll see if I can find it in a minute. So.
Not on your phone.
No.
The Western Riverina Joint Planning Panel, it's a 3-year appointment, so it's not due until September 2023, so it's the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor. I think the alternate just falls off that.
Yeah.
Right. The committee, the other ones that are there are just community grants, and the scholarship committee are all councillor as a whole. They come back here anyway.
Okay, is everybody happy with that level of delegation?
Anyway,
Okay, so the recommendation will read that council representatives be appointed to standing and special committees, section 355 committees, advisory, external and internal committees. Somebody like to move? Move Councillor Churgwin, seconded Councillor Strawn. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 5, please.
just put forward a recommendation for the council meetings being exactly what they were previously, but now's the time to make the changes. So currently they've always been, till to date, they've been scheduled on the 4th Tuesday of the month from February to September 2022. Reason is there's things that we come back every September and do, and the minutes of the dates for council meetings is it. So if you wondered why it just says September 2022. The meetings commenced at 3 o'clock and they'll be alternate. As Tom's assured me that Colliambley Hall will be ready by April and have everything finished by then and we'll be able to utilise it. Just another one out there, Tom, just a reminder.
No pressure.
No pressure. And what we've brought in as well, there was the day, the meeting starts at 3 o'clock, but we'd start a workshop at 10 o'clock on that day if we had items to bring forward to speak about. And then the fortnight before, we'd start in the afternoon, on the Tuesday, the afternoon, the fortnight before, with a workshop if there was things to be brought forth. So currently, if we sit at this current arrangement, there's some work that needs to be done in order in our risk area. We're going to do our risk matrix, and that would be done in the first workshop meeting of February. That would be conducted by our insurers for a couple of hours to get our risk appetite done for that. So now's the time to speak about whether you want to keep the same meetings on the 4th Tuesday of the month or alternate. Councillor, questions?
Didn't we used to have the workshop in the morning at 10 and then council at 1?
No, it was workshop starting at 10 10 till 12, lunch 12 to 1, then come back if we have to do a workshop and then start the meeting at 3. Lead up to the election, the stuff at the workshops got less and less, but after the election, you'll find out on the 13th and 14th of January when you attend the meeting that we have to review within the 12 months all the policies. We've got to do our strategic planning. We've got to do everything in the first year. So those workshops will be busy if we don't break out into things like that anyway. So
what we found initially with the workshops and whatever was we weren't getting, it was really crammed, and we were pushing to get, at the end of it, pushing to get to the break and then council. So, is there a worry, Councillor Churgwin, with the time?
Oh no, not really. If you think that's necessary that we do it that way, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably saying that the first 12 months reviewing every policy, doing the strategic planning, which Vicky and Anne are doing the plan for now, the communications plan, so we can start working through all of those things. Because that has to be done by June 2022, doesn't it, Sue? We have to have that in by June 2022. So February, March, April, May will be smashed.
Busy.
Yeah.
Any other commentary around the time? Because as John said, now's the time to say no, or can we do something else?
Move.
Okay. Move Councillor Curfew, seconded Councillor Bryce. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 6, please.
I preempted in the last thing on the 13th and 14th. We've got the NSW, so Local Government New South Wales, conducting training on the 13th and 14th at the Darlington Point Chambers, commencing. I think it's 9 till 4. So if you get there a few minutes earlier than 9 o'clock to get started to that. So they'll run through absolutely everything, hopefully, that is needed for councillors and in the new world and everything else. So we know that the Act is changing. The obligation of training by councillors, whilst it has been heavily recommended and everything else like that, they have not gone to the trigger yet to say that you must meet these minimum standards, but I can say it's not that far away because they have done it in other that there have to be certain things that councillors must do, otherwise they won't get to do it. So it'll be a snapshot of local government in those 2 days. Good time to ask 1,000 different questions. Tom and I will be in the room as well, be able to bring forth things that might crop up that is just specific to our local government, those things. So just a recommendation is there that it be noted, that's all.
Okay. Are there any questions? While we are loath to use the word compulsory, the expectation is that those 2 full days will be attended, please. So if it's do everything humanly possible to allocate that time, because as John just said, there's 1,000 different things we need to be aware of, so that we can do our job to the best of our ability, but we can also safeguard ourselves when we are at the table and out there in the public. And if you look at the financial cost of this, it's $6,300. So we certainly want to get our money's worth when we've got the people in the room. Okay, would somebody like to move if there's no further questions? Councillor Black, seconded Councillor Churgwin. I'll put the recommendation, which will read: the contents of the councillor induction program report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 7, please.
As a new section of the Act that allows that the first 18 months of the council, that we can have a count-back election, for want of a better word, to replace any vacancies that happen within the first 18 months. And of course, within the last 12 months, As a general rule, council can decide whether they're going to fill a vacancy, and within the last, sometimes I get my jurisdictions mixed up, but in some period of time, you can make appointments and things like that. So for this next term, which is about 2 years and 9 months, you could have a situation where you don't need to go to a by-election at all if there was a vacancy with the count back. So the count back in my readings of it is not as straightforward. It would be for Murrumbidgee and Murrumbidgee East wards, because there is only one other person on the ballot paper for that. So if there was a vacancy within those 2 wards, then and this resolution was passed, then the Electoral Commission would just ring them up and say, do you want the seat? And then they would get the seat. For the Jerilderie ward, it's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more complicated. They have to go back with all of the ballot papers, look at all those ballot papers, take out the council that caused the vacancy, redistribute the preferences. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the fourth place person would be the one that would be elected. It would all depend on that. And so it could have been the 5th place person, and they ring up the Electoral Commission and said, do you want it? And they say no. Then they have to go through it again. They have to exclude them and go through those processes. So for at the end of the day, it wouldn't be a full cost of a by-election, but it would be a cost associated with it. So our recommendation as administration always is trying to do the least cost would be to pass this resolution. If you don't pass this resolution, if you do no resolution at all at this first meeting, you can never revisit this again at the second meeting. This is a one-time offer to be able to do it. I could put me 1 a.m. TV hat on. So it's if you pass this resolution, then this resolution is, and then we do a count-back election. If you decide to leave this on the table and not vote on it at all today, then we go to a by-election after that. Councillor Black, questions? Move.
Would you like to speak to it, Councillor Blake?
It is essential that we go least cost. A and B, we have got 4 other candidates. 6 candidates that have lined up for this election. So,
anybody else like to speak for? I'd actually like to speak against it. I know it's a financial imposition, but it's my belief that coming to the next in line, while straightforward, may not serve the council best, just for whatever reasons. I think democracy at work is going back to the people again. And as John just outlined, it's not straightforward here in the Jerilderie ward, so it would be a cost anyway to get to where we perhaps needed to go. That's my opinion, and we will move forward democratically with how people think. But I think we have had a by-election in recent times, which was successful. We had a good candidate come to the table. So I think if you go on history, a by-election can generate extra interest, more interest, a different interest, and I think that's democracy at work, and it works in a very healthy fashion. That's my opinion. Anybody else like to speak?
If we were going for a full 4-year term here, I probably would agree with Ruth. But it's 2 years and 9 months, and it's sort of not, in my mind, not as long.
It's only 1 year and 9 months.
Yeah. So
last 12 months, you don't have to have a by-election.
Yeah. So I just in this particular instance, I probably think I'll go with the recommendation.
I'm leaning more to the Mayor's thoughts. Because last time it worked well, so
it did. We have a recent history of the by-election being very successful. I know it is a financial imposition, but council's only as strong as the people sitting at the table, and I think that if we we are to represent our community fully, and with their support, we have to trust that they would like that opportunity then to have another say in what's going on.
Yeah, I'm going
Did you withdraw your...
withdrawing my...
Withdrawn too.
You're withdrawing?
Okay, is there anybody else who would like to speak?
I also think that with the way that nominations happened, it was quite difficult and onerous, and maybe there are people out there that just couldn't get their nominations done, and perhaps that'll be fixed up in the future.
I've just got a question, John. If it did occur that we had to have a by-election, who would run it?
The same people.
Oh, that's not a priority. But anyway, we'll put that aside. If we don't have...
We can go out to another election company to do it, but we can't run them in-house.
No.
I believe this last election had major faults because I could not vote in Jerilderie when I was in Jerilderie. I had to travel back to Colleambley, and I believe people in Darlington Point had to travel to Colleambley to vote in the Colleambley ward.
Yeah, the zoning
in the East Ward. Actually, Gavin raised another point. The zoning is atrocious. That we go to the cemetery of Darlington Point on the East Ward, and the West Ward comes to Boundary Road or Four Corners Road in Colleambley. So maybe a remapping of the zones would be good too.
We address that to have that looked at?
No.
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 Well, yeah, and we can call for those redistributions of the boundaries at any time. There wasn't any automatic need because it didn't trigger the percentage population triggers to do that.
We are looking forward to an east-west boundary rather than north-south boundary.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all we're asking.
Yep. So I'll find out.
Ercildown Road and Yellow Road maybe, or
I'll find out what can be done. And we had the ability to share a returning officer, which would save costs. So we did. We shared with Federation and Berrigan and ourselves shared the returning officer. And some of the things that I asked for was to be they had to be available, that anybody from any of the three wards can nominate at any of our offices. So
and vote in any.
Number one, and we had a situation where we had a Murrumbidgee ward put in a nomination here, and returning officer questioned it, and we said, "Go jump in the lake. It's happening," and it got through. So it was because that was a no-brainer. And then the other one was that anybody can vote at any one of the three offices, but that never took place. That did not take place. And the other thing, the 2-week period...
Because the boundaries of all three boundaries.
And the 2-week period beforehand, where the nominations were open, that should have been to be able to be done in any of the three offices, and they didn't do that either. So they will be... I've already asked the Electoral Commission, are you having a conversation with all of your clients afterwards? And they said, oh no, we normally only have it internally. I said, you need to bloody well have one with your clients because you've made an absolute mess of it, right? And you need to know the mess that you made and where you stuffed up. So, well, I'm hoping very much in the new year when they've finalised all of this that we will have that conversation and we'll be able to point out if they've done wrong. And next time, if we have an election, if they can't do it, they can't meet our standards, then we'll go to another provider for election. 2 other councils in New South Wales have got an election company, which you can do. There's just more requirements that you have to submit forms and files and everything to the Office of Local Government if you use somebody else other than the New South Wales Electoral Commission. But don't get started on the Australian Electoral Commission because LG and SW use that for their vote. And
we didn't even get our voting stuff.
The voting papers turned up here 7 days after the election had been called. So
and Julie and I had been trying to touch base with them because they said they sent them on the 21st of October, and for the 10 days prior to that closing date, we were trying to get some sense out of them and nothing happened, and they arrived 7 days later. So I think John and I intend to do this evaluation of it, and I think collective voice will have more impact than just us by ourselves. So it's our intention to take it through Ramsgate, because it's not just our council. It was Edward River, it was Berrigan, it was Federation, even though the returning officer was sitting in Federation, it was a problem. So if we return back to the original recommendation, how would you recommend that we would go?
We just leave it on the table if we're not going to do. If you don't pass a resolution, leave it.
So is it the collective voice here that
I remove my...
drawn your
Removed it.
recommendation? Okay. Okay.
You had a compelling argument.
Another quick question. If you reside in one,
Because we don't have to.
Yeah.
how can you stand for election in the other?
Because you're a member of the council area. And or you own property in both sides.
Did you hear that question?
What was that?
If you reside in one area, how can you stand in another council ward?
Because you're a it all depends. Well, you can be on the non-resident roll and put yourself forward, and we have one person that was on non-resident roll. But yeah, there's a couple of different ways that can be done.
So by rights, I should be done in West Ward.
We don't want you up there.
See? See?
Don't want you up there.
Wasn't that?
Yeah, just whispers in the air if just if we could have a resolution to lay item 7 on the table, I suppose. Just whatever you want to do.
The council not use the countback.
Yeah, well, the council not use the countback system.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll just word
You'll see it up there, just resolved on the motion of councillors blah blah that council does not use the countback system.
Councillor Black and Councillor Gilbert, the council not use the countback system. I'll put that recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried.
Just a couple of little housekeeping things before there. Request to suspend alcohol-free zone for 2022 Australia Day celebrations at Luke Park, Civic Hall, Council Chambers, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Any questions? So Councillor Black wants to drink.
Councillor Black, thank you, Councillor Major.
Councillor Major as well.
Any further questions? No. So the recommendation will be the council resolved to 1, allow the prohibition on the consumption of alcohol in the vicinity of the council chambers, Civic Hall, Luke Park and Powell Street to be lifted from midday to midnight on the 26th of January 2022. 2, allow the prohibition signs to be covered during the period of the celebrations. 3, notify the local police. And 4, advertise council's action. I'll put that recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 9, please.
Item 9, it was something that come through late that we sent through. It's just in relation that you would have noticed that during this election, that on the election day, sitting councillors became vacant, and then until the election was declared yesterday, did we have councillors. So there was a 14-day period there where there was no councillors or mayor or anything in place. Now, highly unusual. I've only ever experienced it once before, and that was during an amalgamation when there was no previous council. The previous council had been dissolved and there was a new one created, and they had a separate thing they actually called. I was the interim CEO, that I was the administrator for that period of time until the council was declared and sworn in at the next election. But this is a phenomenon that actually exists in the Local Government Act, and it will be there forever and a day unless it gets changed. As you can see throughout the report, I've just identified Queensland and I've identified South Australia. They both point out that the councillor's term ends on the date of the declaration of the next election, not at the date that the election is called. The New South Wales Act, if you are a popularly elected mayor, then you your office doesn't end until the new mayor has been declared by the election, so it's not uncommon for this to happen. So it's just something simple in the resolution that we want to put to the conference motion at the special conference in February, is that the local government, New South Wales, lobby the Minister for Local Government to amend Section 233 of the Local Government Act to end the term of the councils to be at the declaration of the polls. The proposed changes as follows. Section 233, for what period is a councillor elected? Subsection 2, omit B, which says becomes vacant on the day appointed for the next ordinary election of councillors, or the occurrence of an occasional vacancy. To insert concludes on the day of the declaration of the election or when vacated in accordance with Section 233. So this leads up to another point in things. So we've got some conflicting pieces of legislation in relation to councillor remuneration. It states that a councillor gets paid an annual allowance divided by 12 and all of those sort of things. And there's some councils that aren't paying anybody for that 2-week period whatsoever. We've interpreted the Act a little bit differently, so we're just waiting on a ruling from Office of Local Government in relation to that. So just that simple little piece that the office was vacated on the date of the election and not brought up has just shown so many things. And of course, the word that we got from Office of Local Government, if your existing mayor at the date of election was going to be returned for council, then they would allow, or they would not investigate if there was a complaint come forward that that person went to the carols by candlelight or the school functions or whatever it was representing the council. So as it was with this election, there was a fait accompli from the first preferences that Councillor McRae was going to be elected. So I just authorised Councillor McRae to attend the school functions and all of those sort of things, because everybody knows how good I am with kids. So that's why Councillor McRae attended those things. But they're just these anomalies. Who attends carols by candlelight? I actually posed that to the Office of Local Government, and they said, well, if we have any complaints, we've got 2 investigators here that are not even going to look at it and just say, go away, for those sort of things happen. But this is just how silly the Act can be, hence the reason for Council to endorse this motion to go to the LGNSW conference for the floor to decide of the 128 or 26 councils there are. Any questions?
I'll move it.
Move, Councillor Churchman.
Sense to me.
Another act of stupidity was calling the election in December.
Yes.
Seriously, one of the best parts about being the mayor or even an elected representative is actually attending presentations and celebrations and things like that. And to automatically take that out of the equation is just really foolhardy, in my opinion. So, and while we very carefully said to the people that did invite us, please don't refer to me as the mayor or the councillor, they all did. So that's just how it is.
The most frightening part of all this is that we have had a ship without a rudder or a captain for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I've just been running around in circles.
5 weeks.
and it's very
Awesome.
well, I mean, it begs the question, if you were concerned about your leadership in management, it puts you in a very tenuous situation. Not that we have that concern, but if you did have that concern, it would be a significant issue. Not that you're the general manager's keeper, you shouldn't have to be, but there's lots of there's lots of potential for things not happening as they should.
A disaster, a flood, a fire.
Situation, and it's ridiculous to have an election in December. Also.
Yeah. That was moved, Chairman. Second, Major.
Yes, I'll put the recommendation, and the recommendation will read that Council endorse a notice of motion in relation to councillor term and submit for consideration to the Local Government New South Wales 2022 Special Conference. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 10, please.
Tom.
Your turn.
In October, I addressed Council with a public gates and grits policy, which we put on display for 28 days. we had a few well, we only had one person that gave us feedback, which were one farmers that were involved with the public grits and grates, and they didn't agree with certain items in section 1.1 of the report. They're very lengthy. That they don't agree all roadways should be responsible of council, what road repairs, equipment, what do farmers have to actually repair roads? So the whole purpose of the grits and grates is that farmers don't have any fencing up, and they're asking us as council to maintain a product that we don't really need to take care of. So the whole policy is based on that the farmer becomes responsible. Out of the 13 grits and grates that we have in there, that we bring them up to a standard, and then we make the farmers responsible. In that sense, that they will contact us if there's anything damaged and they get our concurrence. And if the farmer sells their land and the new owner doesn't want to be responsible, we actually rip out the grits and grates, and that becomes our road reserve again. So this has been going on for quite some time, and we've finally got a policy in place, and this is the only feedback we got back, and I think we're doing well with the farmers to initiate this, to get them to a standard where they should be, and then they would follow through as part of our asset management.
My personal feeling is that we'd give them no money at all and they were 100% responsible, because they should be fencing those roads, those land easements, and keeping the sheep and cattle off the roads, and we shouldn't be party to them. This is a band-aid solution to me for them not fencing. So even though I will back your recommendation, I personally feel that the grids should be removed from the roads. They are a hazard to the drivers, especially if they haven't been maintained over the years. They're not council's responsibility. They are the landowner's responsibility, because they don't want a fence. And they've got their wool sheds full of wool. They've got a tax problem, so they should sell their wool and put a grid in. Put their fences up. Remove the grids.
Troy.
So if Murray Irrigation owns a few bridges and Collie Irrigation would, so who's responsible for maintaining and replacing them? Does council contribute any to that?
No. We only...
I'd say similar. I think it's pretty similar. It's infrastructure that's owned by external organisation or body. I didn't think there was any compensation towards the irrigation companies for them. So
the whole thing is if we require that bridge to be widened or lengthened, we will only pay for the width.
That's right. Yeah.
Not to the maintenance of that bridge. Or
so to me, it's a bit of a precedent that sits there. Yep. But I know you have negotiated pretty hard, Tom. So
there wasn't any precedents to start off with. Both the councils in the merger had no policies in place other than Jerilderie Shire in its time, but it was a one-line item, and that they would not support grits and grates anymore. But there wasn't any in the actual Shire here. But in the merger, we've now inherited the remainder. So I'm trying to support the farmers in bringing a new asset to a level where we can maintain them.
Well, as I said, I personally would like to see them removed, and our road reserves are fenced.
Okay.
That can be your resolution, is that at the point of failure, the gates and the grids are to be removed.
So the option here.
Well, not failure. Is failure when they are no longer safe. Yeah. Deemed safe. Well, I might upset a few farmers. I might upset
some of those bigger properties, though.
It is not a big cost.
One grid. There's only
No, fencing's a big cost.
Fencing's.
Yeah, but
It's part of being farming.
It's part of being farming. It is protecting the land, the travelling public.
So if you go to your attachments, you'll see in the
Read
attachment
these. I didn't get the attachments.
the policy. Inside the policy, it indicates the locations of all the grids, so there's 11 all up. And the standards that I would like to put them to.
The one in the point.
Bricks Road.
It's all, yeah, Bricks Road.
Yeah.
And we have property on Bricks Road.
Yeah.
And that is now sealed, even over the levee.
So it's not the grade's not there.
Where the levee comes in. But it's now been, it's, that.
Yeah, it's fully fenced.
And it's fenced that way. Ours is,
Yeah.
across the road from us is.
So I see a plan there of all the locations of where the grades
Yeah.
are.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
It's down by four volleys.
Yeah, yeah. It's
8 in one spot.
fully fenced. It
We
doesn't.
make the farmer responsible here, so what council does and what the landowner does. So the landowner does pay council. With council's approval, it still comes back to us as an approval. There won't be new grates going in. I'm sure that council will.
Can I just ask a question about the ones on Boone Road? Does the National Park abut any of that? So it's all private ownership.
So does
11.
analysis on it.
It is our asset at
It's
the end
our
of the day.
asset, yeah.
It is on our public road.
I'm pushing forward basically the old Jerilderie policy. It's not a silly policy.
So to risk manage what is there, but not replace or.
And not replace.
Well, we would have to, at this point of time, if you do not adopt this policy, I will have to contact the farmers and rip those gates out because they are unsafe.
The grades.
Great, the grids.
There's no gates anymore because they're bypassing them.
It's a much more complex issue than just the grid.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying I will support Tom.
Yeah. Because it does in fact provide a level of speed management, which if you just have wholesale straight road and it's not fenced and it's not gated, the stock, it's a free-for-all. That's an issue. Farmers don't have fences anymore. They didn't have them a lot back in the day, but it is a cost, as Gavin says. It's a huge cost. But I think if we are in the business of contributing to public safety as best we can in a managed fashion, and I just think we to just say we're not going to do anything when they're done, we'll rip them out and that's the end of it. I just think that's a bit heavy.
Okay.
I just think what we need to do is we need to be very sure that the people whose property these grates are on are held.
They're on our council property.
They're our property, but they're on through their property, that it is managed and it is assessed to a safe level, and that we insist that happens.
Yeah, so it even makes it hard on that Brits Road one because that is the access to a national park and also a farm. If we go ripping that grid out, what's going to happen there? Who's going to end up paying for all the...
The farmer will.
Yeah.
What about national parks?
Well, the farmer will.
Well, the national park, that's okay.
Well, the cost falls to the person who's that's the
Yeah, there's no stock in the national park, I would think.
Shouldn't be any stock in there.
Do we need to have
you got
further
stock in there,
discussion
Councillor?
about this, Tom, or do we need action on it?
Only way the way it's set up.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. It's a reasonable outcome.
It's a reasonable outcome.
So my question, Tom, is any of these grids, internal grids, property owned? So,
They're all public roads.
no, I mean, is it a different neighbour each side of the grid, or is it the same neighbour both sides of the grid? Because
There is on 3 occasions.
then that's farm management, not council road thing. You know what I mean?
The first 3 or 4 grids are based on
They don't have capital.
a few property owners.
No, they're different, because I just wonder,
It's just one.
if we're contributing to a grid internally within a property, that's probably a bit rich than contributing to a grid that is boundary grid, right?
Well, I think number one on Wilson Road, one side's fenced and the other side isn't.
Is that at,
No, Delta Gulgumbla.
right, okay.
Delta side's fenced and there's one side's not fenced. Yeah.
I guess the commentary then reverts back to, if we are going to retain these as our infrastructure, we have to manage properly the fact that is still in place, and we then become the custodians of whether it is safe and fit.
Well, that's the whole purpose of the policy.
That's the recommendation. That's the policy.
We didn't have a policy before to put that in place. So when a resident came up and said that we need to fix those grids, I couldn't debate with them. I couldn't actually have anything to show them that this is what the policy is. This is what the landowner needs to do.
Yeah. So this is stating very clearly whose responsibilities are what. And I guess this is a policy that we can adopt, and then if we find that it is working adversely against council for whatever reason, we can revisit it. But at least put something in place to ensure that we, as the custodians of that, have a relative level of safety attached to it.
I'm happy to move it.
Okay. Any further commentary around that?
One of them actually states that they're looking at moving the grid. Does that have to go through you, Tom, when they do?
Yes, they do, yeah.
And Brits Road is sealed.
Yeah, but there used to be 2 on Brits Road. You got the one that finishes near past Roachies, past your daughters.
Karen.
Then you got the one at the bridge going into Gordon Beaumont's.
Yeah.
No, it's still there. Definitely.
Oh, yeah, the grid's still there.
They're still there, yeah.
One at the bridge and the one back further.
Not all the way to the grid.
The fenced hasn't been fenced all the way.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry?
We're talking about the one right near the bridge. So if you're going to remove that,
We're not going to remove it.
No.
This is the whole part of the policy.
Yeah. We're not.
If you don't adopt the policy,
yeah,
the policy will indicate that the current grids become unsuitable in council, and no policy for public grates and grids on council roads. Remove all the public grates and grids from the council reserve area. That's if you do not adopt this policy. I will remove all 11 of them.
By having a policy
removed.
covering yourself.
Yeah.
We're covering ourselves.
But I think it's...
Issue because I don't have the money to replace them.
No.
That's why we're here today to adopt this policy.
Yeah, what I'm saying, if we have it where they've got to be removed, that sort of makes it hard for that area down there, because you've got only one farm at the end where that grid is.
Yeah.
That's an access. There's no fencing there other than that grid, and that's an access for the Euro National Park.
If it
Unless it's pushed to be that access for Euro National Park to come in through the stock reserves on Sturt Highway, where it should be anyway, not going through sort of past his property and wrecking the road through there. That makes it hard for that one farmer at the end of that road.
So Tom, tell me exactly what will happen if it fails. If we have this policy, but if like a grid fails, what happens?
We would then contact the owner of that land, and he will pay 70% of the cost to replace that grid.
And if he doesn't...
We don't adopt this policy.
If we don't,
that's a question if we don't.
if we do
If
adopt
we
it.
do adopt it, yeah.
If we do adopt it, council puts in 30%, the landowner puts in 70%.
70%.
And if he refuses to pay the 70%?
I rip
Take it out.
Good.
Yeah. I think
But
that
we're only going to have a $10,000 allocation, and they
Yeah.
could go...
This is a 10-year program. Yeah.
$10,000 a year?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
okay.
then is allocated out of our culvert replacement program.
Well, can we change it from 70% to 80%?
To 90% to 100%.
You can do anything you want now, Councillor White.
Well, let's be
Revisit it.
reasonable to start with.
Let's revisit it in 12 months' time.
Yeah. Let them, yeah, absolutely.
Why not for the first 12 months, 2 years, it's 70,
30?
30, and after 2 years' time, it is 85-15.
We will review, this will need to be reviewed in 2 years' time, like all policies, so we'll bring it back in 2 years' time.
And what this policy clearly does state now and enables council to have a position statement on it is that the responsibility for this, which is giving safety and access and whatever to these properties and things as we go, it's not just council's responsibility. It is the landholder or the user's responsibility also. So if it fails completely, they're either going to have to substantially contribute to its replacement or just say, oh, well, we're not doing that anymore.
Now, the reason why I've been so adamant about this is because a friend of mine, John O'Grady, was killed at a stock ramp. It wasn't in our council area. So that's why it's for the safety of individuals using the roads.
Okay. Councillor Curfew.
Question, during our wet periods going onto these ramps, some of them get rutted, and when they get reported, I mean, that becomes a potentially big safety issue, and that also becomes a big cost to us, trying to repair these drive-ons and drives-offs. So when they report that as a safety issue, we're obligated to get out there and deal with the issue within a certain time period. I mean, that's just ramping costs up after wet weather events and stuff like that. If they report that, we're obligated to get out straight away, because you're just saying that you're just taking on the risk.
But it's our risk already.
It's our risk anyway.
Yeah, we're taking on even more risk.
Well, no, by renewing the grates and putting them in correctly with the right culverts and the head walls, we should reduce that risk of erosion. Because at the moment, we've got a poor quality grate that's not functioning correctly. So we've got an asset that's died that hasn't been renewed yet. But
so you're probably talking near, what, 40,000 to...
15. Read your report.
Yeah. But I think, Rob, like all policies, if we find that there are glaring issues, we can revisit it before. If we find that an issue has arisen that needs immediate attention, you use your policy as a guide, and that informs how we move ahead. Okay. Any further questions or commentary? If not, I'll move. Would somebody like to move the recommendation?
I've moved it. We need a seconder.
Sorry. Right. Okay. The recommendation will read that Council 1, adopt the draft public gates and grids on council roads policy, and 2, allocate $10,000 in council's draft budget estimate replacement program over the next 6 years to replace all existing public grids and grates. Council contribution to the replacement will be 30% of the cost, with the landowner to support 70%. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? I declare that carried. Okay. Item 11.
Tom?
Don't we have to go into...
Yeah, this is just a prelim.
This is a prelim.
To allow it to go under there.
Council's Plant Committee identified a backhoe based at the Murrumbidgee depot that required replacement for over 6 years with an hours on it, and council's to consider a separate potential backhoe.
Please move to the confidential. Right, move Councillor Black, second. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried.
Tender for Smash Point for a design and construct. Council went out to tenders during the course of November the 2nd to the 30th of November. Council received 3 tenders on time of the closing dates. That Council consider a separate competition report of tender for construction of splash parks.
I'd like to move the but those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 13, please.
Councillors, just Chairman considers all council's cash and investments as at the 30th of November. One, that there's a small error in the employment leave entitlement reserve. Should just read that. It should not read south. It should just be employment leave. Employee leave entitlement reserve. Take any questions?
Okay, are there any questions of Vicky, please? If not, would somebody like to move the recommendation? Please, move Councillor Bryce, seconded Councillor Churgwin. And the recommendation will read, the council note the monthly cash and investment report containing the bank balances and schedule of investments as at the 30th of November 2021. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Somebody like to move that we move into confidential, please? Move Councillor Black, seconded Councillor Curfew. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Okay. Do we turn the thing off?
So you put them both.
Oh, I can.